He's done a few interviews, Addy, over the last few days. He obviously talked about that interview. He was mentioning about interactions in terms of talking in the final. He said in the first half, I think we had 65 interactions between the players. In the second half, there was only 30 or something. And he said that was why he felt like the second half, the game got away from England in the final against Spain. Really and truthfully, Spain were the best team, right?
Yeah.
It was.
Look, so for me, I think even hearing that, I think he's putting a lot of a spotlight on him, because if it don't, look, Southgate got to 2 finals, so he can only better it by winning.
Yeah.
So, and the way he's talking in regards to it was disjointed, and in games it gets disjointed, and I'm not saying that a change wasn't needed, but where he's getting to the point where Spain were the best team. Like, in the final, Spain was the best team. Spain was the best team throughout. Yeah. And when you still navigate, like, England still got to a final. Mm-hmm. So I just think he's come out taking a dig at Southgate at a point where, listen, man, look, Southgate hasn't said nothing. He left. You've come in. Now start afresh without putting any added pressure, which the England job comes. So now everything has to be free-flowing. And I think you heard the reporter say, okay, well, I see where you're saying everything that was wrong. I'm looking forward to making it all right now. And I just think it was a little bit too much too soon. But again, different people may have took differently from it. He
done this interview with ITV, and some of the quotes come out of it. He said, we were more afraid to drop out of the tournament than having the excitement and hunger to win it. And he also said that I want us to play with excitement, the hunger, the desire to win, the joy to win. The acceptance of failure is part of it, especially in football. We want to implement this togetherness and the joy that everyone feels safe to express themselves and give their very best and play in a way that's recognisable. Listen, I agree with you. I see the quotes as that, and there's a lot of people saying, yeah, that's what we want. A manager who, wants to get the best out of the players, and he wants to, make us exciting to win the tournament and not be scared. At the end of the day, I don't care what anyone says. England players have got so much pressure on them when they play for England, the hype around the football team, the national team, all the time, that they're going to be nervous. Yeah. Right? You're playing against France, you're playing against Spain. Like, these are top world-class players that you're playing. It's tough. You're gonna be worried about getting knocked out and not doing a business at the highest level and letting yourself down maybe here and there. But that's part and parcel of playing in this big tournament.
Of course, he can say it because England didn't get over the line. Yeah. But I really don't care what anybody says. If England did win, playing a defensive style of play, and that's what I do get. With the players that England do have, everybody wants to kind of see that Spanish sort of football, and that's what I was saying in regards, like, we have to have our own identity, and I think that's the thing which happens. It's, why don't we play like them? Why don't we play like them? So then every tournament, whoever wins it, you want to play like the team that wins it. Do you know what I'm saying? Which ultimately, and he did say something which I think he said, he wants to mimic the Premier League, the speed, the intensity of the Premier League, which is right. You should mimic what you play week in, week out. And we always say, oh, look, the players that are in form, they should play, and it should mirror. So when they go back to their club teams, it's the same, especially the intensity. But where, the point where he's saying about, they was more scared to lose the tournament, they got to a final. And I think sometimes we do get over excited in regards where we kind of want it all, which is fine if you can get it all. But at the end of the day, we just want England to win, and then after that, it's cool. Then win with the hoorays and the flicks and that. Let's get to that point where it's back-to-back finals. So it's just a tweak, in my opinion. And if I was a player and we got to back-to-back finals in a tournament, I'd be like, okay, we just need to tweak that little bit because they're doing something right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. You can have your say on this. Get involved. 03717 22 3344. What did you make of the inclusion of Jordan Henderson? Look, a lot of people were gobsmacked at the inclusion of him. I kind of get it.
So do I.
Because when I've played against Jordan Henderson, I've watched Jordan Henderson. He is a leader. He is a character. He's a winner. And you need players like that in your dressing room. And I think that we've got a young crop of, unbelievably good international players now that are coming through. But I think you still lack leaders. Yeah. And I think him picking Jordan Henderson, whether he starts or not, he's someone that you kind of want around the camp. Thomas Tuchel, I think, is a man who likes to have men in his team.
Yeah, I get that. So, we discussed this, I think, last week, and I think there's a lot of elements that goes into building a squad. And I know some people look, they just want the best players.
Yeah.
But I think that the culture and the characters, and this is what we were saying, when you've got a lot of young players, and I think there was a lot of players that were 25 and below, so it's a young, exciting but inexperienced squad.
Yeah.
And it's a squad, and Tuchel came out and said, listen, you want people who they adhere by a standard. So no matter what, when you're young, you're fearless, which is a great element. Yeah. But then there's things that need to navigate. So any managers do they like a connection or connectors. So they'll have a general groups, with Kane, with Henderson, with the other senior players in there.
Yeah.
And I think for me, the inclusion of Henderson, I can understand. Mm-hmm. And listen, I can also understand why they were talking about, I know Gibbs White wasn't in the initial, but he's in there. I can understand why, because I do think Gibbs White should be in there. I think he's had a tremendous season. Yeah. But I do understand when you bring in a character or a leader or a connector to be able to establish the culture and say, look, this is what we adhere to. Yeah. And he may not play on the pitch, but sometimes there's messages that is as important off the pitch. Yeah, so I can understand it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've heard Jordan Henderson in a crowd, 60,000 people, and there's only one person you can hear, and it's Jordan Henderson. He don't stop talking.
Yeah, man. He's a leader, man.
He's a leader. And you need people like that on your pitch sometimes. Yeah. And, you think you get to the latter stage of the World Cup and we get there. We got 10 minutes to go. We're winning 1-0 against, France or Brazil or whoever we're playing. And you go, who can I turn to on the bench who's going to get us compact, who's going to talk, who's going to be, organising a young group of players to get over the line? You'd probably say out of everyone in that side, it is Jordan Henderson.
And it's also, and I'm not saying they've had this conversation, but you'll know as well, especially I know, it's an understanding of your role. Yeah. So, everybody there wants to play. And I'm not saying he doesn't. Yeah. But if he's had a conversation where the manager's lent on him and said, listen, I know, but you're going to be more important in the changing room. Yeah. So that's that energy that then he's like, all right, cool, I'm not going to be sulking. And I'm not saying their players are, but you know what I mean.
I know, of course.
In regards to be like, he knows his role. Yeah. So last 10 minutes, he'd be, I'm going to say happy to get 10 minutes, but he knows his role. Yeah. So everybody plays a role in a squad from the top to the bottom, from the bottom to the top. Yeah. And that's a bit which I understand. He ain't going
to go there with an ego.
Yeah, so he's not going to be like, I've got to play, He's going to be like, okay, these are my strengths. This is what I can bring to enhance this squad. So listen, I understand it, but then I also understand that sometimes they just want a player that can come in and just play, but there's more than just being out there on the field. Yeah, absolutely. Well, you can have your say on that. Get involved. Thomas Tuchel's comments about England's identity. You're looking forward to it. Do you think we can win the World Cup with him in charge? The Sports Bar with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. Monday to Thursday nights from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.